So this is a message to new or about to be new gun owners from a confessed ammosexual, me. Um, and this is some thoughts that you might want to consider as you proceed to your journey. Uh, a little background. I'm a combat veteran, and my experience with things that go bang, um, as a pilot, combat pilot, I was issued a Smith & Wesson 38 Special, a totally worthless piece of kit. We only used it to protect our groin from any aircraft fire coming up so that we could protect our family jewels while we were flying. I always carried an M16 broken down with one pin removed so it would fit behind my seat. And I flew Cobra gunships. So that thing was always with me. I always had two bandoliers of 200 rounds of ammo each. So in case I went down, I was able to defend myself. And that happened 3 times. And I fired my M16 in combat twice. So that was my experience with firearms, other than what you get in basic training. As a civilian, prior to the military, I was a biker and carried a 357 Magnum revolver, open carry on my motorcycle in California, and never had an issue with law enforcement. Fast forward, many years go by, like 30, and I moved to the state of Idaho, and had no desire or the thought of having firearms again until I got a job with the company I've been with for the last 12 years. And the owner of that company was an avid gun person, Second Amendment person, and sometimes conspiracy theorist, if you know what I mean. But I always enjoyed precision, and he invited me to come out to an outdoor range and shoot his rifle. And I did, and shoot his semi-automatic pistol, and I did. And I was hooked on the idea of, I want to do this. I had no idea why. No idea why. So I said, okay. Went to shoot again, and then started doing research on the idea of the Second Amendment, whether or not owning a firearm, I mean, where does that fit? And as a free thinker and a constitutionalist, I went, man, people totally forget about the Second Amendment thing. There's First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, all those. And they forget about this idea that there is another amendment in there. And it really matters, just like all the others. And I thought, well, wow, man. So I thought about that some more. And a right that you don't exercise is a right given up. And I said, fully on that. I'm in a state, Idaho, where I can do that and unobstructed. So I started doing research on, because I had to answer my own question. Do I become a gun owner, which is different than living the armed lifestyle? There are two different pathways. And well, there are two different pathways. So I said, okay, I don't particularly want to collect guns. I'm not a gun collector. So I thought, all right, what am I going to do? Because if I bought a firearm, it had to be for a purpose. And if the purpose was recreation, I got other things to do with my money, if you know what I'm saying. And so I started down the thought process of the idea behind the Second Amendment, the idea of both self-defense and the defense of others and the defense of the country And then I came face to face with this idea of defense against a tyrannical government. And our country's been around for 300 years. We're a baby. We're a baby in the context of civilizations that have gone before us. And in every one of those, there has been tyranny by the government or kings, queens, whatever. And I started to understand that a couple of things. One, we are responsible for ourselves. Nobody's going to come to help us if we get in trouble. They will come after we get in trouble. But we're our own first responder. And it felt weird to think like that. But it also felt true to think like that. And it took 3 years. So that whole thought process for me in the investigation and the thinking and all of that and talking to other people was about 3 years. And I decided that, yes, I don't want to become a gun owner. I want to lead the armed lifestyle. So that meant that I was going to become an armed citizen 100% of the time. And then went to look for a firearm that would satisfy that. And I did. Once I made that choice, I bought it. It was a semi-automatic 45 Springfield XD-M compact. They don't make those anymore. But it was, for me, the perfect firearm because I could conceal carry it. And I could, and it behaved well when I shot it. Well, I got to train, and I remember, and so for the new folks, I remember it's been 30 years since I had a firearm in my hand of any type, and I stood there at the counter. I said, that's the firearm I want. We went to 4473, did all that stuff, passed background check. And then they gave me the gun. And I looked at it and the adrenaline, and this was an indoor range place where I got it. And the adrenaline was like, holy crap, what did you just do? Right? And I was apprehensive. And so I asked the range manager, who was a lady who I'd come to know there, and I said, and she didn't let me. She said, "Do you want some training?" And I went, "Yeah." She says, "Okay." And she got the blue gun out. And for those of you who don't know, the blue gun is a gun that's a mock-up. That's a blue piece of plastic that looks and feels like a real gun. It doesn't have a trigger that you pull. It just, you hold it in your hand, and it's for figuring out grip and stance. And she said, "This is how you hold it." And I went, "Okay." And she said, "Don't do this, do that." And I went, "Okay." "Just stand this way." "Okay." "Would you like me to come to the bay with you?" And I went, "Yes." I mean, never say no to somebody who's willing to help you do something, right? So we went into the bay, and she showed, before we went in there, she showed me how to, magazine, how to grip and all that. And I said, okay. Got into the bay, and I sighted down onto the target, and I went, "Ah, shit," and squeezed the trigger. And that first round, oh my God, the first round was like, holy shit, wow, wow, man, and I did 200 rounds in that session of getting used to shooting that pistol. Now, she didn't stay there for 200 rounds. She just made sure I wasn't going to hurt myself, or that I knew how to make it safe and put it back in its container. And the rest was history. I went through the same mistakes you're going to make, and that's figuring out what's the right holster. Do I carry outside the waistband or inside the waistband? in my pocket, in a holster? How many holsters should I have? What kind of bullets should I get? How often do I need to go to the range and practice? I mean, those are the kind of things that you will think about, and that I had to think about. And it took me a while, a couple months really, to be comfortable, where I felt comfortable with carrying that firearm every day. I practiced draw. I looked at tons and tons of videos on YouTube. I scheduled concealed carry training. I scheduled multiple classes with instructors to get the right kind of training so that I felt comfortable in knowing that I could carry that firearm every day and be safe and be accurate if I needed to use it. Also, before I did that, in the concealed carry classes, I learned the law and when you can and cannot use deadly force as a civilian, which is different than law enforcement. I mean, all of those things I went through, and it took a while. It took months, and it's going to take you months. And that's just something that you should get your head around, that it is a journey. It is a journey. Now, if you're going to live the armed lifestyle, if you want to be a competitor, if you want to just go plinking, then it's a recreation for you, and you should probably change the channel, because none of this that I'm going to be talking about is for you. Are you prepared? Are you mentally prepared to use deadly force in your defense or defense of the innocent? Because if not, you cannot live the armed lifestyle. If you decide to live the armed lifestyle, you should also get insurance in case you do that and you need legal support after the fact. USCCA is who I use. I've been using them for 5 years. They're excellent. I've never had to use them, but I pay for them every month, if you know what I'm saying. It is a very comfortable feeling to know that a phone call away and you don't have to say anything to the cops if you have to do anything. So for you, the new gun owner to be and or armed lifestyle person to be, these are some things that you should think about. The other thing is, you will not end up with just one gun. No. You will have a minimum of 2. It'll be a pistol and a rifle. Pistol and a rifle. They both act differently. They both require different training. But you will do that. The other side to seriously consider, if you are a single person, male or female, you get to make your own decision. If you are in a live-in relationship or a significant other relationship, never let your partner decide for you. That means the decision, your decision, to live the armed lifestyle could result in the end of your relationship. And that is something that is very real, and it's something to think about. So as you think about that. So these are some thoughts. It's not everything. It's not everything. But it's a start. And if you have any thoughts that you would like to contribute, please put them down below, because I'd certainly appreciate that, and so would the other people on the channel. And with that, as always, thanks for watching. Carry on.